Shalom. Giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the head apostles of Great Millstone, who do rule well and teach well with sound doctrine. Shalom unto the elders and the elder bishops of Great Millstone as well. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings unto the hopeful elect, the men, women, and children, listening and learning from the servants and prophets of Yahweh Bahashem Yahshai, and a hearty shalom to those doing the work in truth and sincerity, building up the tabernacle of David through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahshai in these last days, giving diligence to make their calling and election sure. Shalom, shalom. And last but not least, a hearty shalom to the men of valor and DTA camps prophesying the downfall of this wicked queendom known as Babylon the Great as well. Shalom, shalom. So back at you through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahshai with another lesson. Adon Rathazah, Yahweh Rathazah. May the lesson be edifying. So we'll touch on a few articles, go into some secular information, and tie it all in with the scriptures. This is basically a World War III, update, so on and so forth. Don't have a title for the lesson yet, but Adon Rathazah, you're edified by the lesson. And let's go. So the first article we'll touch on came out today, February 2nd, 2022, aka 2023, the year of Yahweh Bahashem Yahshai turning up, the year of the amplification. And it reads, how the latest Ukraine escalation split the EU. So it says, in light of the Russian threat to Ukraine, the European Union seems disunited. Let's read about it a little bit. So it says, concerns over a purported Russian invasion of Ukraine have been growing in the West, with the United States, United Kingdom media machine in overdrive. And you keep on seeing these articles, update on what's going on over there in Ukraine, between Russia and the Ukraine, and then the other nations that are eventually going to join the conflict, if it escalates. And it says, experts keep talking about the country's increasing military buildup, 100,000 troops on the ground as far as Russian troops. And America is looking to deploy troops as well. Literally, I was going to touch on it a little bit later, but hey, we'll bring it out now. So it says, update. POTUS on Tuesday formally approved additional U.S. military deployments to Eastern Europe, and the Pentagon is expected to announce Wednesday morning that the troops will deploy in the coming days, per U.S. officials to CNN. We'll touch on that a little bit later. This came out a few days ago, and this talks about the split, or so on and so forth, of NATO looking like to be a split. We'll see what comes out of it. And it says, Putin splits NATO and cuts out Biden. Russian president agrees to hold talks with Germany, France, and Ukraine as squabbling NATO countries fail to decide joint troop deployment. And Joe says he'll go it alone. This is January 29th that this came out, and this came out literally this morning. So we can see this thing is escalating, troops on the ground and boots on the ground. And you have America's allies, starting to hold talks with Russia, and eventually America's allies are going to turn on America. That's biblical prophecy, and they're going to send their rockets over here. Let's read the first two paragraphs of this article and move on. So it says, experts keep talking about the country's increasing military buildup along its western borders, and every month they post almost identical images of the identical images from American satellites. The Western press is painting a vivid picture of Moscow's plan to attack from three directions, while politicians refer to some intelligence reports that describe mysterious movements of 100,000 troops. So, Russia is flexing, Yahweh Bashem Yahshai is stirring up the Medes. Second article. And it says Poland spills beans on new U.S. troop deployment. So it says Washington to deploy 2,000 troops to Poland as more soldiers placed on high alert. So it says the United States will deploy around 2,000 troops to Poland as part of measures to strengthen NATO's eastern flank in response to potential Russian military moves toward Ukraine, the head of Warsaw's National Security Bureau revealed on Wednesday. So it says, speaking on Polski Radio 24, the country's national public service broadcaster, Paweł Solich, announced that the American troops arriving in this country will be part of a more significant deployment of 8,500 soldiers being sent to Europe. So boots on the ground on both sides, boots hitting the ground. And eventually it's going to lead to conflict. Let's go into Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. And the word of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahshai came unto me, saying, Son of man, I'm going to read again. And the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahshai came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And Magog is Russia. And these are the names of the sons of Japhet. And Esau isn't Japhet. That's a common misconception, among Israelites who don't have the proper understanding. It's like it, The reason why the scriptures uses the names of the sons of Japhet is because before Esau came into power, as far as the Greeks, Japhet used to occupy the lands of Europe, Russia, Eastern Europe, Western Europe. So it uses the names of the sons of Japhet because the sons of Japhet were occupying those lands, Like, for example, the sons of Japhet, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, Tyrus. The sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Rephath, and Togarmah. So you see those names in the scriptures, as far as end time prophecy. It's not talking about the sons of Japhet. It's talking about Esau, Edom, who's occupying those lands that Japhet used to occupy. Once again, Ezekiel 38 again from the top. And the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahshai came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Because Japhet was occupying those lands, Meshech, Tubal, Magog, so on and so forth, and prophesy against him. Because Russia, and China, at the end of the, at the end, when the smoke clears, they think they're going to be sitting on top, But they got another thing coming in the form of, at the end of the movie, the 12 tribes are going to be in rulership, man. Starting with the elect and Yahushua, We're the future rulers, man, of the earth and beyond. And Yahweh Bashem Yahshai is setting this war up for you all to destroy yourselves, man. So we're prophesying against Russia, America's allies, America's enemies, Babylon the Great as well. Because they're all going to get what's coming to them, man. Those that reign 1 hour with the beast and those that despise America. Ezekiel 38:1, and the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahshai came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahshai power, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Yahweh Bashem Yahshai is against Esau. He's against Magog, Russia. Edomites, not Japhites. Like some people who are uneducated, think. And Yahweh Bashim Yahshai put that reprobate spirit on you to believe that, you know, the so-called white man is Japhet. You know, that's because you're not being studious. You know, what's that word that Sakari uses lately? You know, you're not using or applying scholarship. Ezekiel 38:3, and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahshai power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, more sons of Japhet. You know, Meshach, Tubal, because Japhet used to occupy those lands, you know, Eastern Europe, Russia, Western Europe, so on and so forth. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields. So Yahweh Bashim Yahshai is going to cause them to go to the valley of Yehoshaphat, you know, Russia and all their allies, America and all their allies, and destroy themselves, man, you know, you know, in the form of bombing each other, man, you know, and then he's going to destroy all the leftover, man, you know. Ezekiel 38:5, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya. Persia being the Elamites, Ethiopia being the Cushites, you know, and Libya is North Africa. Let's get the table of nations real quick. So, Persia, you know, that's Elam, you know. And also, you know, you got the Arabs being involved as well, you know, Ishmael, you know, so on and so forth. You know, but the Persians, that's Elam, as far as the nation, you know. North Africa, Foot, or Pawat in Paleo-Hebrew, that's Libya. And the Ethiopians, you know, Kawash, Cush. And you have Ethiopia and Elam, they have ties with Russia as far as military ties with Russia. So if you look up Russia-Indian relations, it goes into Slovakia. I had this pulled up earlier. U.S.-India ties, why Putin-Modi arms deal are a problem for both China and the United States. You know, and this happened a little while back, but that shows you that, you know, Russia and India, you know, Magog and Elam, you know, they have each other's backs, you know, they're allies. Russia-Ethiopia Inc. Military Cooperation Agreement. And this is December 7th, 2021, you know? So Magog and Ethiopia, Cush, are allies. And all these nations, you know, as far as Elam, the Ishmaelites, you know, Iran, you know, Egypt, they're all going to nuke Babylon the Great, man. And it says Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya, with them, all of them with shield and helmet. So Russia's allies, you know, are going to join Russia to fight America's allies, you know. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togomar of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Once again, the sons of Japhet are mentioned because Esau's occupying those lands. He's a culture vulture, man. He'll occupy the land and then take on your customs and call himself you, like he's doing in the Holy Land, you know. Jeremiah 49:20. Let's get this article real quick. And it reads, Russia refuses Israeli demand to stop jamming GPS of flights into Tel Aviv. So you got Russia, basically using, you know, cyber attacks on the Tel Aviv airport. Let's just read it. Russia has refused an Israeli demand to resolve the electromagnetic interference from its airbase in Syria on the GPS of planes landing in Tel Aviv, further impacting relations between the two. According to the Khan News, that's spiritual. According to the Khan News channel yesterday, Israel sent a letter to Russia stating that the defense systems at the Russian Khmeimim air base in the Syrian port of Latakia are causing electromagnetic interference in the GPS systems of planes landing in the Israeli capital. So Russia's jamming them, man, flexing muscle, on the house of Amalek. Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore, hear the counsel of Adonai Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, that he that had taken against Edom, and all these are Edomites in the form of, the Amalekites, Magog, Babylon the Great, the Americans, the major players in this thing, that are going to get this thing catapulted to the next phase, man. Britain, Germany, America and all their allies, as far as NATO, those are all Edomite nations, Israel, more Edomites, Magog, Russia, Edomites, man. But all the allies of, America, Russia, they're going to jump in, And what's happening over there in Ukraine is looking like the beginning stages of World War III, because the players that are talked about in end time prophecy, they're peeking their head over the fence or they're directly involved, Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore, hear the counsel of Adonai Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, that he that had taken against Edom and his purposes, that he had purpose against the inhabitants of Teman, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Talking about Israel, the Amalekites over there in our land, the small hat people, the 1948ers. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Because, when Israel draws Babylon the Great into that conflict, it's going to lead, into all hell breaking loose, man. And you got Russia basically taunting Israel, man, at their airport, man, jamming their GPS signal, man, Yep. Jeremiah 49:21, the earth is moved at the noise of their fall. Talking about when the nukes hit Babylon the Great. The earth shall root to and fro like a drunkard. At the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. Huge mushroom clouds, man, all over the place, man, in Babylon the Great. A big, fiery map. That's what Babylon the Great is going to look like when those nukes hit, man. Obadiah 1:1, the vision of Obadiah. Thus said the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahshai. What rumor? The report. And an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye and let us rise up against her in battle. Because eventually, America's allies are going to turn on America. you know, Great Britain, Russia, Great Britain, Slovakia, um, Germany, France, you know, Australia, you know, so on and so forth. All the American allies are going to turn on America, man. NATO's going to turn on America and burn her with fire. Obadiah 1:1, the vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. That rumor is the report. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Obadiah 1:2. Thou art greatly despised. Slakia. I just had it pulled up. Excuse my internet where I'm at. I got the sword right here. I'll just get out the sword because my internet's tripping. I'll just read out the scriptures. Bear with me 1 second while I go to the sword. Slakia. Internet's tripping where I'm at. Obadiah 1:2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. And America is greatly despised, man. You know, by Magog, Iran, you know, Afghanistan, Libya, you know, China, North Korea. The list goes on and on and on. And eventually they're allies. Germany, NATO. And it reads, U.S. to deploy 3,000 troops to Romania, Poland, Germany. And it says United States Department of Defense. This is 2 hours ago. Yep. And it says Germany blocks NATO ally from transferring weapons to Ukraine. So they block Estonia, better yet, from transferring aid as far as artillery, Slovakia, to the Ukraine, you know. And then an article came out 2 days ago. It says Germany isn't turning its back on NATO. It only looks that way, but eventually they are, you know. We'll see all these events play out, you know, step by step. But that's what it's looking like. And the fact that they're holding talks with Russia, you know, it's not looking good for Babylon, you know. Because eventually all those, you know, NATO nations are going to turn on Babylon and burn her with fire. And it reads, the last article, Putin names possible reason for Russia-NATO war. And this came out yesterday. If NATO allows Ukraine to join the bloc, it might end in disaster. Russia's president says. You know? Just read this first paragraph. The possibility of Ukraine joining NATO poses a threat to European security as it creates the grounds for a major conflict between Moscow and the military bloc. Russian President Vladimir Putin warned on Tuesday. So things are escalating, man. You know, and call all Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai, because as things are escalating, other things are happening. You know, the house of Saul, you know, they're waxing worse and worse. The gathering of the elect is happening, you know. The charagma, it's here, you know. The camps, you know, the concentration camps, they're in place, you know. Esau, Edom, ready to accuse, you know, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans as being the cause of all this hysteria that's happened the past 2.5 years. You know, that's in the works. The past 2+ years, better yet, you know. The Great Famine. All these things are happening at once. and also eventually defending the word. You know, brothers are constantly getting their videos taken down because of, YouTube guidelines and so on and so forth, and having to go to other platforms. And eventually those other platforms, they're going to be obsolete too. Because as Esau Edom is looking to crown his enterprise, he's going to take away, the ability for us to get the word out to you. And that's the famine of the word. So all these things are happening at once. And this is a beautiful time to be alive, a beautiful time to be awakened, a beautiful time to be in the spirit. So let's close on out with Revelation 17:16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, NATO, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Let's get Luke 12:49, because this is a build up to Yahweh Shai returning. Luke 12:49, I am come to send fire on the earth, and what I will. Luke 12:49 again from the top, I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I, if it be already kindled? So when Yahweh Shai returns, America, Babylon the Great, is already going to be on fire, He's going to return in the midst of World War III, while countries are nuking each other, so on and so forth, and destroy their armies, and then head westward and, bring salvation unto the elect. As the nukes are dropping, he's going to beam up the elect, man, And the first way he's sending fire upon the earth right now is this word. Jeremiah 5:14. Wherefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, power of hosts, power of armies, because ye speak this word, behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire, and this people wood, and it shall devour them. And this word is devouring Esau, Edom. It's devouring the house of Saul. It's devouring the heathen nations. It's devouring Christianity, Islam. Everything that comes up against this word through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, this word is devouring. Yahweh Shai is undefeated. And we're coming into a tremendous blessing, man. And you got to keep that in mind. What we're coming into, you can't even imagine it in its fullness in this body. You're going to need a new body for it, man. But all these things have to happen. World War III, and so on and so forth. So, Adon Rathazah, Yahweh Rathazah, this lesson was edifying. And until next lesson, Shalom, DTA, Wa Abba Baba.